The Louisiana Ragin Cajuns got gored. It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. There we go. Today's episode of Locked On Sunbelt is brought to you by Jace Medical. Empower yourself when you purchase a Jace case, providing you with a personal supply of 5 antibiotics that treat 50-plus infections. Get yours today at jacemedical.com. That's J-A-S-E medical.com. All right, good show for you. Today we'll preview App State and Georgia State, and can the Marshall Thundering Herd stop the slide? But that was a crazy football game. Technically last night at Cajun Field, Southern Miss wins the ball game 34-31. Cajuns fans not too happy with the officiating, thought that Cajuns got in not once, but twice before the end of the first half. I happen to think that Terrence Carter caught the ball in his left arm, or had the ball in his left arm, and while he touched the pylon, the ball didn't cross the plane, and then you just can't tell if Jacob Cabote got in or not. It was a struggle for the Cajuns. It just was. They actually got off to a good start. They only scored first for like the second time in 5 ball games. They fell behind Texas State, fell behind Georgia State. They did jump on top of South Alabama, but then they fell behind Arkansas State. And they did get on top 7-0. But then comes Southern Miss, and they scored, I think, on back-to-back possessions, and they made it 14-7 midway through the second quarter. By the way, this is the Frank Gore show. They did have a swing pass from Billy Wiles, but he ends up getting replaced. He throws for 99 yards. Ethan Crawford can barely throw the football, but he finds somebody open in the end zone, Caiston in the end zone. We'll get to all that. So the Cajuns are down 14-7 and kind of playing them listless. Despite the one touchdown, but Xylem Perry, who has not been particularly good, everybody says he has been or has that potential, made a couple of mistakes last week against Arkansas State returning kicks, takes one 95 yards for a touchdown, and all of a sudden it's a 14-14 ball game. All right, now the Cajuns defense steps up. They get the ball back with about 5 minutes left to go in the half. On second down, Fields finds Terrence Carter, who literally steps on the pylon, which we all thought is supposed to be a touchdown, but apparently the ball didn't cross the plane. Okay. The referee, I saw the spot, was in between, literally at the half-yard line. So you need 1.5 feet. Then Southern Miss jumps off sides. You literally need, 9 inches. And they hand it off to Jacob Cabote in the shotgun, of course, and he is stuffed. All right. If he did get in, some people did think he did get in. It's tough to tell. I can't tell. All right. And so it was 14-all. Okay. We got a goal line stand and a kickoff return. All right. Not bad. Come back in the second half, and, Southern Miss got all the momentum. They get a stop. They have a mistake on a kickoff return, plus a holding penalty. The first throw from Billy Wiles should have been intentional grounding. He was throwing it to the guard. I think the running back got caught inside, and nobody was out there. But on the next play, fumble. Billy Wiles fumbles, right? Hit from behind. Cajuns recover. Casey Osai going into the end zone. Touchdown? No, but he fumbles. And to add insult to injury, it's a touchback. So instead of being backed up inside the 10, they get it out to the 20. Nuts. One key point I forgot to mention, the Cajuns lost Landon Burton, their center. He is the heart and soul of that offensive line. And it was a major difference. A couple of reasons. They rushed for 122 yards in the first half. They rushed for 10 yards in the second half. Hopefully he's going to be okay. His brother Lyndon is my radio producer on 103.3 The GOAT. So I will have an update one way or the other over the weekend. So although the Cajuns did go down on that first goal line stand by Southern Miss, that was without Landon Burton. All right. So the Cajuns come out offensively. They do force a punt, and they can't do anything. I think they went 3-and-out twice in a row and had some bad snaps. They had a fumble due to a bad snap, and that's where Southern Miss took it in for a touchdown. All right. And it's 21-14. Okay. 21-14. And the Cajuns, once again, get it down to the goal line. And for some reason, they're running Draylon Washington, who did have a short yardage touchdown earlier on in the game. But Jacob Caboti is the power back. You're supposed to run him. Well, they can't get it in early. Second down, they throw it to, I think on third down, they threw it to Neil Johnson. That was incomplete. Then they throw it back to Terrence Carter, who drops it. Tying touchdown, drops it. Now, here's the thing. The Cajuns defense actually came out, got a stop on on 3-and-out, the first 3-and-out all night. And Southern Miss punts it away. 2 plays later, touchdown to Harvey Broussard. All right. Chandler Fields, Harvey Broussard, 51-yard touchdown pass. It's a 21-21 ball game. Okay. Ensuing drive, third down on 3rd-and-1, nonetheless. Frank Gore gets the first down, but someone used the peanut punch and punched it out, and the Cajuns recover, and it gets all the way down to the 7-yard line. Next play, touchdown. So this is all in about, I'm not even sure the whole thing took 10 minutes. Cajuns were like 1st and goal inside the 10. Don't score. Force a 3-and-out. 51-yard touchdown pass. Fumble, touchdown for the Cajuns to Trayvon Colbert. Now it's 28-21. And the Cajuns have them right where they want them, forcing them to pass. Well, now you got to question the Cajuns' defense, what they were doing. First of all, early on in the game, they're in a 3 high safety deep, whatever it is, right? 3 safeties back. Why? Nobody's gone over the top yet. They've tried a couple of times, but weren't really close. All right, Billy Wiles and Ethan Crawford are works in progress, and that's being kind. And then when they were playing soft zones, they couldn't come up and make the tackles. Kaysen with a big 24-yard pass completion because he caught a 4 or 5-yard pass, and the guy's trying to come up and make the tackle because they're playing in a soft zone. Nope. 24 yards. And that ends up setting up the tying touchdown. Kaysen caught it in the back of the end zone. Caleb Anderson, he fell down. All right, he had him, and then he fell down. And unfortunately for the Cajuns, it was touchdown. Unfortunately for Southern Miss, big score there. I thought Southern Miss, by the way, should have gone for 2. They're 2-7, but maybe Will Hall, the Fighting Will Halls, decided they can't stop us. We're going to kick the extra point. Cajuns actually get the ball. They got a minute and a half. Kenny Almendarez can certainly hit from 40, maybe 45. They get a couple of first downs, but Chandler Fields, the Cajuns' third-string quarterback, threw it behind the receiver on 3rd and 3. They tried to draw him off sides, but that didn't work. They get to overtime, and Cajuns have to settle for a field goal because they get a holding penalty. They stuffed Southern Miss, Frank Gore, on 1st and 2nd down, so it's 3rd and 7, and pass interference is called, and unfortunately, it was. Kayvon Martin with the pass interference for the Cajuns. The thing is, I went back and looked. He's playing inside coverage, right? So he wants Kaysen to go outside, but he gets fooled on a double move. Kaysen fakes going outside, so Martin gives way to the inside. He actually, one of those, I'm going to not hold you a little bit, but I'm going to, sort of wrap you around, but he put his hand on his shoulder and you could see it. I don't think he would have caught the football, but It was pass interference, and 2 plays later, Frank Gore into the end zone. It was a crazy, insane football game. A couple of nutty turnovers, not 1, but 2 goal line stands for Southern Miss. Some poor defensive scheming for the Cajuns. They lose their center. They can't snap the football, can't run the football in the second half. And yet, they had a 28-21 lead at home with 5:55 to go. And now they're 5-5. Yeah, now they're 5-5. Cajuns 5-5, 2-4 in the Sun Belt. Southern Miss has all of a sudden won 2 in a row. They're 3-7. Again, I don't think they're going to beat Southern Mississippi State, but you never do know. Congratulations to Fighting Will Halls. Cajuns got to go back to the drawing board. They get Troy next week. Good luck with that. And they got to hope they're healthy enough to win a bowl, to beat ULM in a couple of weeks. I mean, what makes us think that, ULM's not going to come into Cajun Field and want to do the same thing Southern Miss did, right? If we're not going to a bowl game, you're not going to a bowl game. Southern Miss did their end of the bargain. We'll see what happens with ULM, but not a great night at all for the Cajuns. Not sure what the plan was defensively, but it was not a good plan. Again, Wiles and Ethan Crawford are works in progress at best at quarterback. At best. Frank Gore is a stud. All right. Frank Gore is outstanding. I think I said 1 touchdown. He had 2 touchdowns at least tonight. He had, 3 touchdowns because he had a receiving one. He had 2 touchdowns on the ground, 33 attempts, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, and only caught 2 passes, maybe had a loss in there. But he did catch an 18-yard swing pass for his, I think that may have been for the first touchdown of the game. It was a simple 18-yard swing pass, and nobody was out there. I'm not even sure he beat anybody to the corner. Nobody was there. So he's a special player. He does have a year of eligibility left. I presume he's going to go pro. Be nice to see him at the Senior Bowl. Played at the has played there before, obviously, at the Lending Tree Bowl and against South Alabama. So I would look for Frank Gore to be, I would hope a second day draft pick. I would think 2nd or 3rd round, hopefully before the 4th round. But that's what I'm thinking. All right, we went long, not surprising. Let's take a timeout. And when we come back, we'll talk about this weekend's football games. We got to do App State and Georgia State, plus can Marshall stop that slide? Now it is time to tell you about eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit. Only available to U.S. customers. Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. I ran out of diet green tea. We're drinking water. I do have some other potential liquid I should be maybe drinking following that ball game. And we're doing this late Thursday night, early Friday morning. So I'm going to try to sleep in, but we'll see how that goes. All right. App State taking on Georgia State. This is one of those situations. Georgia State is trying to turn things around a little bit. They were struggling. They've lost their last couple of ball games, and App State's had an odd year, right? App State has had just an odd year. Their losses are by 6 to Carolina in, I think, double overtime. By 3 to Wyoming after having a fourth quarter lead. They lost on a field goal. They beat Monroe on a 54-yard field goal after they had a goal line stand. They lose to Coastal Carolina because they're going to go kick the go-ahead field goal, but fumble the ball. They beat Southern Miss down 10 in the fourth quarter, win by 10, and then beat Marshall. They're getting Georgia State, and Georgia State is coming off, a couple ugly performances. I don't know, has Georgia State run out of gas? They're coming off a couple of ugly performances. They lost to JMU last week, bad second half, 7-7 ball game at the end of one, and 14-7 at half, and they lose 42-14. They also didn't have a great performance against Georgia Southern in Statesboro. So they've given up a lot of points. They came out this year and were playing really good defense, not so much the last couple of ball games. The reason that App State's had an odd year is because their quarterback has played so well, right? The running back, Nate Noel, has been hurt. I don't think he played all that much in the last ball game. Joey Aguilar has done so good. Didn't win the job out of camp, right? Ryan Berger. And Joey Aguilar has just been so good for this team. Nate Noel carried 12 times, but only had 20 yards last week. But Joey Aguilar just had a great season this year. 2,400 yards, 23 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Whatever success App State has had this year is because of Joey Aguilar. Now, the games I've seen, I'm not sure if I missed a Sean Clark decision. I think maybe go for 2 against Carolina when you have a chance late. But I know in the Wyoming ball game, right, they scored to take a 2-score lead, and Wyoming came right back to get close. It's been an up and down season, that's for sure, for App State. But here's the thing, right? So Georgia State's trying to build this program there. All right. So now here we go. We got Sean Elliott from Georgia State, who I think went to App State, and then you have Sean Clark, the head coach of App State. And if you ask Mountaineers fans, they'll tell you Sean Clark is on the hot seat. So Georgia State's still trying to build, and they've had a good season. 6-3, 3-3 in the conference. They're at home. They win this ball game. They are 7-3, and that's a nice year. Really good year for Georgia State, right? App State, on the other hand, they play for championships. They do not accept mediocrity. And right now, that's kind of where they are, despite me defending, some really tough losses. They have not been great this year, right? Even when they win these ball games, like East Carolina, I think they were behind. And Monroe, they needed a minor miracle, right? They were down. They scored a 20-point fourth quarter against Southern Miss. Didn't need so much against Marshall. What is this spread here? Let's see what the spread is. I think I'm going to take Georgia State's favored by 2. I just don't think they've played well defensively. If App State can get anything out of their running game, they should win this game. All right. Darren Granger's cooled off a little bit. Marcus Carroll's been great. He's got 12 touchdowns for Georgia State, almost 1,100 yards. He's been outstanding. Could have been a really good matchup between Aguilar and Granger, but Darren has struggled a little bit as of late. Still could be a good matchup, but I am going to take App State in this one. All right. Let's see where we are. All right. Let's take a timeout. Running a bit long, as one may expect after a football game. We'll preview the rest of the Sun Belt, what we haven't done so far. First up, when we come back, it will be, can Marshall stop their slide? They have been struggling, and that, and that is for sure. Time to tell you about Jace Medical. We've spent a lot of time talking together, you and I, and we get fired up on wins and losses, who starts, who sits, and I'm thankful for that connection. And today I want our chat to be a little bit more personal. Whether you're extended travel, excuse me, whether you're on extended travel, bracing for a major weather event, or limited by yet another shortage supply, you're covered, my friend. Thanks to our partners at Jace Medical, life-saving antibiotics and a long list of daily medications can be ordered in a 1-year supply, even ED generics for Cialis and Viagra. Go online right now at jacemedical.com to receive your 12-month supply of your daily medication. Remember to use code LOCKEDON at checkout for a discount as well. A verified customer had this to say about Jace. I'm thankful for this service. Supply chain issues caused me to cut pills in half so I can have them. I ordered most of my daily meds with a year's supply. I also ordered antibiotic kit. I feel secure now. Prices are lower than my local pharmacies. I highly recommend this for everyone. If you're someone you love, would like to get some peace of mind by having a year's supply of any daily med, go to jacemedical.com to see if it's offered for you. That's JASE medical.com. Remember to use promo code Locked On for $20 off your purchase. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Of course, Cajuns lose, or I should say Southern Miss wins 34-31 in overtime. Frank Gore had 3 touchdowns for Southern Miss. He's just a special player. He's a lot of fun to watch. I don't care who you're rooting for. He is a lot of fun to watch. We've done Marshall. Oh, no, we didn't do Marshall. We're going to do Marshall now. We did App State and Georgia State. And then last night we talked about South Alabama and Arkansas State. Still don't think Carter Bradley is playing. And we're going to take Arkansas State to win the ballgame. All right. That line's gone to like 13.5. I don't know what's going on there. I do not know what is going on there. All right. All right. So let's see. Let's talk about this Marshall matchup. By the way, on a side note, they're playing West Virginia in soccer at Marshall. I think the tickets sold out in like minutes. How great is that? Is that going to be like one of the biggest Marshall sporting events? Hosting West Virginia in soccer? That's outstanding. Well, good luck to the Thundering Herd. All right. Okay. So Marshall has lost 5 in a row, and they find themselves in a bind. Okay. They're getting Georgia Southern, who can't seem to find that consistency. All right. It seems to be just about all or nothing for Georgia Southern. But Marshall has just been a shell of themselves. And it actually started back, and we've talked about this, it actually started back with the ODU loss, or the ODU win, but they couldn't stop ODU and Kadarius Courtney. They gave up 35 points to the Monarchs. Then they gave up 48 points to NC State, then 41 points to Georgia State. They actually played some good defense against JMU because the offense did nothing. The 9 points were a safety and a kickoff return. They gave up 34 points to Coastal Carolina without Grayson McCall, and they gave up 31 points to App. I'm not sure why this is going to be any different. The only thing is Georgia Southern not very good on the road, and I don't know that I haven't been consistent, right? They lost at Wisconsin 35-14. Davis Brin had a tough day. They lost at James Madison. The offense never got going in that 41-13. And maybe a little shell-shocked last week against Texas State. They lost 45-24, but they were really down 45-10. So I am going to take Georgia Southern in this one. They are looking for their 7th win. They finished up at Marshall versus Old Dominion and at App State. So 2 of those 3 are on the road. So I'm going to take Georgia Southern. They're favored by 2. It doesn't seem like a whole lot in this case, to be honest with you, with a team that's lost 5 in a row. So I'm going to take Georgia Southern. We'll figure out if Marshall, are they going to stick with Cam Fancher? Are they going to give Pennington a shot? It has been not great for Marshall over the last month and a half, and I'm not sure we have too many answers. All right. Liberty is taking on Old Dominion. Big spread. Liberty 13.5 point favorite. Here's the thing, and I stayed away from the Louisville, Virginia game after I looked into it a little bit. And this was the reason, I don't know if I made money on Old Dominion covering against JMU, but I certainly called that one. Liberty does beat teams pretty good, but not huge. And Old Dominion doesn't get blown out. Old Dominion doesn't get blown out. I was going to bet this one. I'm going to take ODU on this one. I thought Liberty, my first thought was Liberty, but I'm going to, Old Dominion, I'm going to take Old Dominion. I think they hang tough. They're a tough team to defend. That's a problem. I don't know if they can stop Liberty, but they're a tough team to defend. All right. James Madison taking on UConn. I think James Madison is looking to peacock a little bit and puff that chest out with everything that's going on. Kurt Cignetti, of course, getting some national pub, well-deserved. I think I feel sorry for the UConn Huskies. I don't think this is going to be pretty at all. All right. We'll see if maybe the distractions are getting to James Madison a little bit too much. Remember, Jalen Green is out for the season. It's a 24.5-point spread. That's basically 35-10, and I think it could be worse. I do. I think it could be worse. I think James Madison is going to look to put up a 50 spot against UConn. I don't think you win any fans by doing that, but some people see you put up 50 points. And, I mean, UConn's all of 1 of 8. All right, and last one is Troy against Monroe. That's in Monroe, not the easiest place to play. And Monroe has just had a, brutal season. They had Texas State beat. They had App State beat. And they haven't beat anybody in the Sun Belt, losing to Southern Miss last week. I think they're going to take it on the chin to Troy. All right. I'm not sure Troy's going to necessarily run it up, but I don't think they really have to. This very easily could be, 31-3. All right. We'll see what Monroe does against that Troy defense. And I really am hoping that the NCAA allows JMU to be eligible, because that's going to be a heck of a ball game the second time around. All right. I know JMU already beat Troy, but goodness gracious, that would be a much better game in December than it was in September. All right. Thanks so much. I'm going to go to bed. Late night. Got to do a show on 103.3 The GOAT. Maybe the Saints can get a win. All right. LSU plays Florida. And we got high school football playoffs going as well. So lots to do on my radio show. Thank you for tuning in. It was a crazy football game. It was an insane football game. I'm still not sure on how to react. I know Cajuns fans want to blame the refs, but there was a lot of blame to go around before you get to the men in stripes. All right. Again, thanks for tuning in. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll be back with you again on Monday for another edition of Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day.